Welcome to Weird Science, where I talk about science that's a bit odd.
Weird.
Science.
Ever since NASA landed another rover on Mars, I've wanted to talk about the planet. There's so many amazing facts about Mars, but the thing that I really think captures everybody's imagination is the idea of terraforming the planet so that humans could one day live there. It's been a staple of science fiction for decades. But is it really possible? Well, one of the main barriers is the low temperature on the surface of Mars, as well as the chemical makeup of the atmosphere and the atmosphere's low pressure, which is less than 1% of the sea level pressure on Earth. The silver lining of climate change here on Earth is that it proves pretty conclusively that humans can affect great change to a planet's environment. So there are certainly ways that Mars's atmosphere could be changed for human use. Greenhouse gases like chlorofluorocarbons, that's CFCs, the kind of chemical that you used to find in things like hairspray, could be released into the atmosphere to begin a warming process. And as the planet heats, it would free up carbon dioxide that is currently locked in ice, and that would further contribute to the warming. If the heating of the planet resulted in liquid water, we might then be able to begin growing plants in order to add more oxygen to the atmosphere. But even if we prove successful in heating the planet and changing the chemical makeup of the atmosphere, we would still need a much higher pressure at the surface, and that's going to require a much more massive atmosphere than Earth's, as Mars's gravity is only about 38% that of Earth's. Then, there's the lack of a magnetosphere. Here on Earth, the planet's magnetic field protects our atmosphere from solar storms, but a planet like Mars has no such protection, making the atmosphere much more vulnerable. We would probably need that protection to have any kind of hope of a stable atmosphere over a long period of time. So, how do we make that happen? Well, Earth's magnetic field is generated by electrical currents in the liquid outer core, created by the rotation of the planet. Weak magnetic fields have been detected on portions of Mars, indicating that the planet did once have a functioning magnetosphere, which ceased to be active several billion years ago. Some ideas have been proposed to restart Mars's core and get it generating magnetic fields again, but of course, by this point we are deep in conjecture and entering sci-fi territory. In reality, something like restarting the core of a now dead planet would probably be beyond any technology we could develop. But then, who knows? If, however, we presume for the sake of argument that we can restart the core, change the atmospheric pressure and composition, release some liquid water and grow some food so that humans can live and breathe on the surface of Mars, well, there's still the problem of gravity. No matter what we accomplish on Mars, the lower gravity will always be an issue for our Earth-grown biology. Our bodies are designed to withstand the forces you find here on Earth, and we know from analyzing the health of astronauts who visit the International Space Station that a lack of gravity can have pretty serious health effects. Because of this, if we ever travel to Mars, it's likely that individuals will be limited to short trips before returning to Earth at the earliest possibility to minimize those negative effects. Or alternatively, if we find that we're able to adjust and adapt to the gravity of Mars, it's possible that the dangers of changing the gravity our bodies live with will render any settlement on Mars a permanent relocation. And if that's the case, it brings up a bunch of moral questions. How do we feel about permanently splitting off a group of humans? If they successfully colonize and go on to have children who thrive on the red planet, how might that change their biology? How might the two groups differ and differentiate as hundreds or thousands of years pass, with 250 million miles between us? Incidentally, these questions form the basis of a novel I stumbled across in one of those donation bins, and which I highly recommend. It's called To Open the Sky by Robert Silverberg, and it explores what happens to human society, biology, and religion when the species is split into 3 factions spread across the solar system. I am glad I stumbled across it, so if you can find a copy, check it out. And of course, if you find this all interesting, I recommend getting online and looking into it further. I am no scientist, and a lot of this is way beyond my level of understanding. Everything I've given here is just a explain like I'm 5 Cliff Notes version, and my understanding is hardly guaranteed to be scientifically accurate. But it's all very interesting to think about, isn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Weird Science. If you liked it, like it, and if you enjoy all things weird and creepy, check out the rest of the channel and consider subscribing. You can also find Zoinks on your podcast app of choice, if you're one of those people. Anyway, that's it.